Happy New Year. This is Emmanuel, and today I'm back with a very robust and easy to read the documentation backend system for an LLM evaluator. So, what did I do in the past 2 weeks? I was So this is a content we can go into it. So what this is me. What did I do into the past weeks? I was like interview prepping, doing problem solvings on code forces lead code, weekly full stack projects, designing and working on complex backend systems, reading the system design Grok book, and also I have been reading some papers on how some companies handled their optimize their efficiency on their systems. Okay, so what's the challenge? The challenge is when we are experimenting with LLMs, there are a lot of things. So we want to have an experiment. For example, we want to have an experiment, and under that experiment, we want to run different queries, and each of the test cases can have like different criteria. So, for example, we might want to have an exact match. We might want to have a another LLM to evaluate the response, right? And we might even also want to evaluate a JSON schema response validation, whether the JSON schema is valid or not. We want to evaluate function calling, which is kind of similar to the JSON schema, but it could be implemented in different ways. So there are different ways we could evaluate a response from a given LLM, and I want to create a system that allows us to do this on a multiple LLMs in that are available. So you can run the same query, the same experiment on different LLMs, so like OpenAI, Gemini, Cloudy, Grok, right? And you would be able to see what their response is, what their accuracy level is, and whether that call have worked or not. So this is the plan, so that you will be able to build your agents and you will be able to build your smart systems very quickly and efficiently. And also, it will allow you to save your queries and prompts, which is much easier rather than scanning through your whole code base, right? Okay, so what's the architecture? So we have the idea is we have a user, and under the user, users can create experiments, which are right here. And under experiments, user can create different test cases. So experiment have only title and description, which could be like testing the function calling of Gemini, right? And then under each experiment, we have different tests. So for example, it could be um, what's the capital city of Paris, France, and then output only one word response, right? And another test case could be uh, like how many continents do we have, right? Output only the answer, right? So that we can match it with exact response. So there are different ways that we can evaluate the test case, and those is stored in evaluation method. We have different evaluation methods like exact match, LLM evaluation, or partial match, right? And then we have expected responses, which is the expected response from the LLM, right? So that we can match it with what the LLM is going to give us. So obviously we have the experiment and the who created it, right? Which are foreign keys. And we have test case results. And right here I'm using SQL, and this was the one that I used. I chose it because there's a relation in the experiments and test cases, as you can see. But I would say like I would use MongoDB if I had to choose now, because of a design, because of the issue that I want to have like duplicates, right? For each test case result, I want to have a duplicate of the test case. So for example, if someone comes in and edits their test cases, I don't want to also, I don't want it to be also edited in the test case result. So for that, now what I'm doing is I'm creating a duplicate here that's not like matched like the same as the one that it was supposed to execute, so that it doesn't get edited when I do the edition here. So for example, if I create a test case and if I edit it, it's not going to be test case result is not going to be pointing to the same one that I edited rather than the different one, so that they can be kept separate, right? So that's the idea. But if it was MongoDB, I wouldn't have to do the duplications manually and try to create give the right here I have test cases, right? So I give for the test cases and created by and created by for the test cases I gave it now. So instead of that, I wouldn't have to do that if it was MongoDB. And MongoDB have all the relations, also the what is it called? ACID transactions that I need. So it would have worked e- fairly enough, but it still works and it's great. And I have this kinds of relation in my database now. So this architecture, this is mainly for the when you are running an experiment, right? So there's a user, and this user comes runs an experiment, and that experiment is going to queue send create a test case result, and it's going to assign it a status of pending and add it to our database. And then after that, it's also going to queue each test case result into our queue, and then our experiment runner worker is going to be um, pulling from consuming from our queue and uh, executing those test case one by one, right? And then if it failed, it's going to retry 3 times. But if it failed after 3 times, it's going to end up failing, right? That's the how it works. So yeah, let's go to the demo and see how it goes. So this is my Swagger documentation. I used Nest.js for the implementation. I have Docker, so my Docker compose my file looks like this. I have SQL, I have Redis, and then I have the application, which is depending on Redis and MySQL. If you are wondering what Mailhog is the one that I'm using to simulate the emailing process instead of integrating it with actual mail host, so that next time I can just come over here and replace these parameters and it would be working without any issue. And then right here what we have is, yeah, so this is my Docker Compose file. I have deployed my backend system on my server. This is my server, so you can see this is my Docker on my local machine. This is my server that I have connected to. You can see um, it's Emmanuel at Emmanuel. Okay, yeah, and let me try to, okay, SSH Amon. So okay, so this is my CD code, LLMs, LS. So this is my server, and yeah, you can see like all we have all the codes. You can see all the files. If you need, we have .env. I copied it and just followed my instruction in my README to set it up, right? So it's very straightforward to do. Anyone can do it. So you just have to npm install and then copy the .env, populate it, and then docker compose up. That's it to set it up. So we have a health route here, which is just not protected. So you can see we have hello world. If we execute it automatically, it's going to, for example, it's sending request here. Let me just demonstrate this one so that you can see. And here we have like hello world, right? And it works like this. And the other routes that you see, this one is protected by authentication. I'm using JWT for authentication, so all the other routes are protected except LLM models. We can try it, for example, execute, so we'll get list of the models that we are available. Currently, I only have like Grok because of time issues. So a user can come here, they can register, for example, user at example, execute. As you can see, we have the response, and then if we come here, let's see if it gave me the email. So after registration, for example, if I try to log in, let's see, try it out, execute. It's the same password as the one I have registered. It says please verify your email address. Let's see if it sent the email. Actually, the email didn't get sent now, so I can request an email right here. So I can say like user at example.com, and then the email will be sent to me. Let's check again. Uh, yes, so I will use this token to verify my email address right here, right? So this process is very easy when it's integrated with the front end. Users wouldn't have to. So this is refresh. My bad. Right here, execute. So now our email is verified. We can log in. Let's see. Let's try to log in here and let's see. Okay, so let's try to log in here, execute. Now it's going to return for me access token, refresh token, and also the user. We can use this refresh token to refresh our access token after a given period of time. Since the refresh token have have much more longer time span compared to the access token, and then I can use this to authorize myself. So I can log in, authorize, close, and then I can access all the other endpoints, right? So um, I can create experiments. Currently, I don't have any experiments, as you can see, right? But if I come here and if I try it out, right? So I just have to give title and description. If I create an experiment, as you can see, it's going to be created here. And if I execute this again, you can see I have one experiment. Every response for get experiment, get all, or like find, they're going to be paginated if we want to. So we can give it like 1 up to 2, or for example here we can evaluation on coding, and then I can also say on coding, right, and then execute. So now we will have like 2 of them. And if we come over here and uh, close this, like make it only one page, one with one element, we're going to have like uh, in total we have 2, but like this is first page, so we only get the first one. We can go to the next page. So the pagination and everything is very well implemented across all the routes, right? So usually it's by default it's 10 and 1, so we're going to use that. Okay, so we have this, and after experiments, what we need to do is create a test cases, right? So let me take the ID from one of the experiments right here. So I'll take this experiment, and when the user chooses this experiment, they can create multiple answers inside it, right? So right here I can say what is the capital city of France? Answer um, only with one word the answer, right? Okay, so I give it this instruction, and this is my test case for this experiment. I can give it obviously multiple um, Ethiopia, for example. I can give it multiple test cases, right? So now if I can come here and if I see the experiments, for example, you can see that it have like 2 test cases inside, so inside of it, right? Okay, cool. So after adding each test cases, we can obviously edit them, and when we are editing, we can only edit like title, prompt, expect response, like evaluation method, and the other things. Um, and then we can run experiments. So now I can come over here and give the experiment ID. I want to run it. Which LLM models do I want to run it with? I can choose. For now, let's just choose 2 of this, right? Let me do 2 of this like this, and then when I execute this, you can see that let's see, let me remove this comma, execute. You can see that the status of the experiment is going to be created as pending, right? and also all the other test cases are going to be test case results are going to be pending. Okay, so let me show you this by retrieving it, right? So let me just retrieve all experiments that I've created until now. So you can come here and see test case results, right? So we would have like four of them because we chose two models and two test cases in that experiment, right? So it would be four. So you can see that this is completed. This is completed. The accuracy is 100%. It answered correctly. This is completed. It's Addis Ababa. But the expected response was Paris, so it got an accuracy of 0. That was on me. That was wrong. Um, and also this one, it have like spaces, so it's going to be an exact match, right? So the accuracy is 0% because we expected an exact match with Paris, right? So we can see it like this. Yeah, and what if the users want to duplicate test cases? So basically, they just have to we just have to create a UI where we just have a button and send this from the same test case. But if we want to duplicate an experiment, we would have to send multiple test cases again and again, right, from the front end and hit our backend multiple times. And we don't want to do that, right? So instead of that, I created one route where you just give it an ID and it will duplicate that experiment for you and give you back, right? So for example, here, if I give it this ID, it's going to duplicate it automatically for you and give it back to you. So now if we come on the experiment side, you're going to see that we have three experiments, right? In total, we have three experiments. Okay, cool. So this is how the system works. And for the failing part, for example, when we are running the experiment, let me reset this, right? So for example, right here, if I do this, I'm not sure if Mixtra have um, let's see, if I execute it like this, I think one of them the APIs doesn't have generating, so it's going to fail. So it's pending right now. So let's come on to our server. Okay, I need to SSH. I'm on. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit so that you can see it clear. Okay, so let's see. Um, my network is working, so I don't know what the issue is. Okay, ls uh, ls cd code LLM ls. Okay, so I don't need to come here, but so let's see all the running dockers, and I want this one, right? So docker logs follow. So as you can see, like um, exact match is failed here. Exact match, it's failed. So let's see, we can see like failed experiments. So if I come here, I can take this experiment ID, the ID from here, and I can just fetch it since we are having multiple experiments now. Let me show you, give me a sec, right here. So let me fetch it. So it's completed now, the status is completed. The status is going to be completed whether any of as long as all the test cases are processed, right? So whether they are completed or failed. So for example, on here, test case results, we can see that this one is completed. So everyone is completed. So let me find another. Let me take this. I don't really remember which one it is. Maybe it's Whisper. Did we try with Whisper? Let me see. We can also see the model, right? Um, okay, so let's try with Whisper. Okay, so right here we have this ID. Let me take this and let me come here, paste, execute. Okay, so currently the status is pending. It's being processed here. So yeah, so as you can see, we have like multiple attempts, right? So job 8 is failing on its the second attempt, and when that happens, we have a waiting time, a back of time, and we're going to wait that amount of time and retry for the third attempt. So we're going to keep doing that as long as it didn't fail. And after the third attempt, if it still fails, we're going to say, oh, it's the end, and we're going to stop. Okay. So overall, this is how it works. I'll give it a few seconds because it's going to take a little bit of time for waiting until um, this is because we have like an exponentially increasing waiting time. It's going to take a little bit of time, right? So it's going to give a little bit time and retry again. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. Yeah, this is a very well documented backend system. If you have anything that you want me to discuss about, feel free to comment and I will be happy to do so. And here we have all the schemas and every response like passwords, everything is going to be cleaned out after before being sent to the user as a response to make sure that the user gets only what they need, right? And yeah, if you want to see a little bit about of the code, still on the second attempt, if you want to see a little bit of the code structure, we have like the base entity where we are inheriting from. As a base, we have the ID and so on and so on, and then we have a basic data access layer. We're using it to access layer. We have like all the autos, experiment runs, experiments, and so on. We have our queue here, which we are using to process the jobs, right? So this is our worker that I have told you about on the structure, the architecture. Thank you everyone for listening, and let's check if this passed the time limit. No, it didn't, so it's probably going to take a little bit more time. Okay. Oh, actually, this is the third attempt, right? Let's see. Yes, this is the third attempt because we are starting from attempt zero. This is the third attempt, and we have tried three times and it failed. So now when we come here, we can see how it's doing, right? So we can see after the third attempt, we're going to actually I didn't update the status here. I should. Let's see. Uh, this one is failed status, and also the status for this is also failed. So I would make sure to update the status for the whole thing to be completed as well, even if it failed as well. Thank you everyone for joining here. Yeah, bye. If you have anything you'd like to ask, let me know.